I think we're very lucky today because we have two of, I think arguably the two largest renewable energy investors in the corporate world. I think until very recently I would have given IKEA the title of pound for pound renewable leader, but I think now Google might give you a run for your money, and we're going to hear some from John Woolard. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, first, it's not a contest, and I hope that we have others that start to beat both us and IKEA. But we've both spent quite some time investing and participating. You know, Google takes action on climate change because it's core to Google's culture. Our employees and all of our customers just expect us to do the right thing and to take initiative and to show leadership. So we've been doing this for over a decade. We've been very focused on what we can do to demonstrate leadership and actually help move the world towards a fully decarbonized grid, which is a very, very large project. You've heard numbers, I'm sure, over the last few days. Somewhere between $40 and $60 trillion is going to have to be deployed across the world. So to the HSBC gentlemen, there's a lot of business to be done and a lot of projects to be built. We tackle this in many ways. First, culturally, we spend a lot of our products, we try to engage. We have billions of active users on YouTube, and so we just launched, before this, we launched an Hours to Lose campaign, trying to encourage users to think through their relationship with climate and climate change and what they could do to actually change their lives and influence the path forward in a more positive and constructive way. Years ago, we started a project called Global Forest Watch. You might have seen there's an exhibit up there in the hall. And we basically said somebody needs to we have great geospatial data mapping capabilities through Google Maps, but we said somebody needs to take all this data around deforestation and make it active and useful and visible so that people can use it to hold others accountable as you look at the rates of deforestation. Not only, we spend a lot of time talking about sources of pollution, but there's a really big, the lungs of the planet need to be healthy, and we need to make sure that we're watching the sinks as well. So we spend a lot of time with Global Forest Watch in a very data-centric approach to gathering information around deforestation and around emissions. We've also launched a project called Project Sunroof, where we help try to make it easier for people initially in the US, and we're hopefully going to roll this out more broadly, to connect with a solar provider so that they can look at rooftop solar. Right now it's a very complicated process, and we basically said we're very good at search, we're very good at mapping geospatial data, let's combine those two and give you an indication of what your solar roof can do and connect you directly with an installer to democratize solar more effectively. I don't want to go, we do a lot of work with Street View and we're looking at automating some of our Street View cars for air quality detection, for methane detection. Just collecting data is one of the more important elements of understanding how to attack or how to deal with this problem. But we've also, behind the scenes, we've looked a lot at what we can do to make sure that when somebody does use a phone or a device or a laptop or search, that they're doing it in a low carbon footprint manner. So we were carbon neutral by 2007, and we've had a goal for years of being 100% renewable, and we keep pursuing that very, very aggressively. And we now joined RE100, so it's great to have another group out there, and we were glad to join up. But we've been focused on this problem. It's a big one for some time. Just in the last week, we announced another gigawatt of renewable power purchase agreements, and a gigawatt is the size of a coal or a nuclear plant. We announced, and it's fairly worldwide, the effort that we did. We did 80 megawatts in Chile of solar in the high Atacama Desert, so that our Chile plant is 100% supplied by renewable power. We have a data center in Finland, and we were able to buy 60 megawatts or 80 megawatts of wind in Sweden and move that across the grid into Finland so that we can make sure that we look at how to decarbonize the European operations. 200 megawatts of wind in Oklahoma. There's a long list, but it adds up to the recent announcements were a gigawatt. That doubles our commitment from 1 to 2 gigawatts, and yet we still have to keep doing more, and we encourage others to keep doing more. The final lever that we've been trying to pull and trying to really show trying to catalyze action on has been to invest some of our capital from our treasury into renewable projects. So when we buy a project for a data center, we then take all the renewable credits, retire them forever to make sure that that is legitimately fully decarbonized power for the life of that project. But then we also invest in other projects, and we've deployed $2.5 billion into 3.7 gigawatts of power projects across the world. We started with wind and solar projects that were primarily North America, but then we started to move out and said this is a global problem. We want to make sure that we're looking across the world. So just recently we announced an investment in the largest solar project in sub-Saharan Africa, 96 megawatts down in South Africa, and we just announced investment in the largest wind project in sub-Saharan Africa, which is 300 megawatts. That'll be 10 to 15, around 15% of the entire grid for Kenya would be supplied by this one project. This is not something we have tackled yet, but I want to take the advantage of being here to point out the fact that 1.3 billion people still don't have access to electricity, so we're starting to look at what we can do through investment and deployment of capital in that category. We think it's a very important one. And what I'll leave you with is, whereas Google's done a lot already, there's a lot more to be done. So if anything, we hope that other companies join in. It's great to see what Kellogg and IKEA have done, and we just think that we need a lot more than just a select group of companies. We need that to become much more of a forceful movement and much more formidable. So hopefully, we'd like to fall out of the top 10 of investment and procurement, and would hope that that others really start to rally behind this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for coming. I have to kick you off the stage. Thank you so much to all of you. A round of applause for the 3 announcements and goals. Thank you.